For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the Insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber. This is Derrick Evans. It's Friday. It's Biden's last Friday in office. And when we come back to you next week on Monday, it'll be just an hour before Trump is sworn in.
Yeah, TGIF. I mean, I never even realized. Once again, we talked about it. We're on the final stretch. This is the last. So this is the last Friday. This is the last weekend. Oh my goodness, we've survived. We only got a few more days to go. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe. We got an awesome show lined up for you guys today. If you're new to the show, hop in the chat on whatever platform you're watching. We read all the comments, and I do my very best to give shout outs just like this. We got Dan Dreyer, Kelly Song over here in the Rumble chat. We got Andres in the Ex American News chat. We got Jagger, Nathan Mehmet, Foxtradamus, Chris, and Astrolith over here in the X chat. We appreciate you guys, and keep them coming.
Well, the crew's all here, and we got a little breaking news, too. Our useless governor here in Ohio has not appointed Vivek Ramaswamy for J.D. Vance's seat. Instead, he appointed the lieutenant governor, John Husted, who he's not awful. He's definitely not the best choice. I would much rather have had Vivek or somebody that is a real conservative that will put America first. But I don't think he's another like rhino saboteur like a lot of the other people in Congress. I think he'll kind of be neutral. He'll vote with the conservatives most of the time. Like I said, he's not awful, but he's definitely not the best choice.
Well, I mean, I think based off speaking with you, because I don't know a lot about the guy either, but like, I was very worried about who DeWine was going to appoint. And so I think probably it's important for most people to understand that we probably all expected him to appoint someone much, much worse. Would that be a fair statement, Mike?
Yes. I figured he was either getting his arm twisted and we were going to get Vivek Ramaswamy, or we'd get some just useless rhino. And this guy's going to be a lot closer to like Trump and Vivek than he is the governor. But still, we could have done better. But also I could be surprised. We'll see how well he does. He has actually stood up a few times and gone against what the governor wanted here. So maybe he's got more courage than we think he does. He's just been handicapped this whole time. So I guess we'll find out over the coming months. Absolutely.
Well, good morning to Thaddeus over here. Nathan Amendment says Vivek should have turned it down for Doge because there's long-term political gains are higher with Doge, and you're probably correct about that in terms of the long-term political gains from that. So we'll see what happens. I'm overall not happy with the choice, but I'm overall happy considering that DeWine is the one that made the choice after speaking with Mike and getting more information. It could have been much, much worse. I think most of us expected somebody much, much worse. So we'll see what happens.
Exactly. Well, we got more good news, though. DEI is dead. Breaking. FBI shutters DEI office ahead of Trump inauguration. And here we go. Trump orders FBI to preserve all records related to DEI office. So they're planning an investigation. There may be some people getting notified that they could possibly have been discriminated against due to racial preferences or other DEI garbage that the FBI has been using as hiring criteria for, around the last 4 years.
Well, absolutely. So I could only imagine that these shredders right now are working overtime at the FBI offices, getting rid of documents. I'm sure that they're going to continue doing so. And then they will say, well, Trump wasn't the president at the time. Joe Biden ordered us to shred them, so we had to follow orders. I'm just doing my job, sort of thing. I would imagine that's the direction they're going to take. But the DEI offices and programs already shutting down is huge. That's a win all by itself. And we can never let those sorts of things rear their ugly heads inside of anywhere in this country, for that matter, ever again.
Yeah, we've already seen this at a few other government departments. NASA got rid of their DEI. I think there was one other agency that's done it, but we've seen a lot of private companies, from McDonald's ditching it. That was huge news, to Walmart, to others. And again, this is a sign of the times. This is clearly discrimination. It's blatantly obvious. But now that the Department of Justice will be in new hands, where they will be prosecuting these type of racism and discrimination cases, they see the writing on the wall. So this is done. I'm sure it's going to pop back up under a new name at some point in the future. But for now, the tides are turning.
Absolutely. Look, we're winning right now already. President Trump's not even in office, and we're winning, which is huge. I think that these people are nervous. I think that they're scared as to what's going on. And we'll see what happens. Also, I didn't know this. I don't think we're covering this on the show, so I wanted to throw it out there before I forget. Kelly Song in the Rumble chat breaking this news that New York City Mayor Eric Adams is meeting with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago today. So that'd be interesting how that conversation goes as well. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we're going to get rid of the DEI programs within the FBI. Hopefully, I would like to see us completely abolish these agencies. But if they're going to exist, hopefully we can shrink them to the point and rip out all the nonsense going on there and actually cut them in half in terms of the size of the scope of them and what they're doing, and get them more laser focused on what the original intention of them was to begin with.
Oh, exactly. Well, they're definitely making the changes, and they see what's coming. We got more good news. Israeli Security Cabinet approves Gaza ceasefire deal after it's signed in Doha. Now, this is, again, on the heels of yesterday, where we thought though they just brokered this deal, that Israel may have been backing off of it. But again, it shows you where the country or where the world really is, that they're preparing for a new era. Netanyahu thanks Trump for help on hostage release, agrees to meet with him soon in D.C. So again, the world is healing, peace is spreading, and I think this is only going to continue over the next few months with Trump in office. I think we'll have peace in Ukraine. The only, I'm a little concerned about China and Taiwan, but otherwise, peace is breaking out around the world.
Well, it's funny that Joe Biden continues to try to take credit for this. His lackeys try to continue giving him credit for this. And then you got all these world leaders who are, openly thanking President Trump for it. The Biden administration even got up there and actually said that Trump was instrumental in negotiating this. So, I mean, everybody is giving Trump credit, even Joe Biden's team at this point, because we all know Joe Biden had years to negotiate this and could never get it done. I think this is pretty huge in terms of getting this deal done now. That way he can put all of his focus on Ukraine situation moving forward. And once he's, in office and everything, he can kind of put more, instead of being divided on trying to negotiate multiple different things, he can put more of his focus on the Ukraine situation while this is going on. But yeah, I mean, I think it's huge that they got this done. We want to see the hostages released, as we all know. And so we'll see what happens there. But Trump's not even in office yet, and we are already winning, which is pretty fantastic. So I think the next thing is go get Greenland. That's what Big Dog says over here in the thing. Go get Greenland, which I agree with 100%. I think he's being facetious when he says it, but I'm serious. Let's go get Greenland and make them part of America as well.
Exactly. And then we need to liberate the Panama Canal.
Yes.
But yeah, we're also hearing inklings already. And I don't think there's any confirmation of this, that we may see these hostages released by Sunday. And yet, to your point earlier, the Israeli negotiators, I think they were talking to reporters from the Daily Mail. I might have the wrong UK newspaper, but yeah, same thing. They said Trump was instrumental in dragging this across the finish line. And to a certain extent, it was holding Netanyahu, holding his feet to the fire, basically saying, yeah, I know you want to go in and like wipe out Hamas, but we need our people back first. Because, the word on the street is Netanyahu had basically given up on the hostages. He wanted just to wipe out Hamas. But Trump said, we know that at least so many of them are still alive. We need to get them out at all costs, and we can deal with Hamas afterwards. So, Again, we'll see American hostages freed along with everyone else that they had. And again, it's good for America, good for Israel, and good for the world to have peace breaking out rather than endless war.
Really quick, I want to give a shout out to Kimberly Hansen in the chat. She says, fire all FBI agents that went after or participated in the hunt and persecution of J6ers. Looking at her profile here, it looks like she's married to a fellow January 6th political prisoner. Just wanted to give you a shout out, Kimberly. Say I agree with that, and God bless you and your family, and hang in there. Trump's almost in office, and there'll be some relief coming soon.
Yes. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes coming rapidly next week. Report, Washington Post traffic is cratering, has fallen nearly 90% since 2021. One more headline here. Struggling Washington Post drops democracy dies in darkness slogan for a new one. Hang on. Let me pull up what their new slogan is. Oh, man, I just had this open. Give me a second. I'll get this pulled up.
Yeah. No worries. Dude, 90% is a huge number. Like, I knew that they were losing viewers. I knew they were losing subscribers, all that. I had no idea that it was up to 90% in terms of what they're losing. That is pretty crazy if you really think about it. I mean, dude, I don't even know if there's any coming back from that, even on X. Like, even if they started trying, because the difference is on there, they're going to get community noted for their stuff. There's going to be conservatives in the comments spreading the truth. Elon Musk is 100% correct when he says that the legacy media is dying and that we are the media now on X. I mean, Washington Post losing 90% of their people is just absolutely, that's a number they can't come back from. We are truly the media now.
Yeah, and I think their new slogan here really says it all. It's now riveting storytelling for all of America. So I guess that's to reflect all the things
joking.
they just straight up. No, that's it.
No way, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot more accurate of what they've been. They just fabricate stories for the left and the uniparty. They jump onto every hoax and try to elevate that while ignoring the truth. So, I'm glad they're down 90%. They've earned it. And, dropping the slogan, I guess, that's, it's sad. It's pathetic, but democracy did die in darkness, and it was their fault.
That is hilarious, man. Well, quick shout outs to Jagger and Tina over here in the chat, and then we got Marble over here in the Ex American News chat. Dude, that is crazy. That's like one of the lamest slogans that you could come up with. It doesn't even sound like that would be a real newspaper slogan on something that's been around for decades like this. But I mean, once again, I want to reiterate, man. Is it the Washington Post? Is that who it is?
Yes.
Okay, so the Washington Post has lost 90%. Like, how are they even still surviving at this point? I mean, truly, like this is a beautiful day for Americans who love truth to sit here and actually live at a time where we're getting to witness the death of the legacy media, watching it just die and sit there and rot on the vine while they continue to cling on to everything that they previously did. Like, they're going the way of Blockbuster, basically. Like they're refusing to make any changes. They're just holding on, thinking that they've been around so long that they're going to continue living. And look what happened to Blockbuster. That's what's happening to the legacy media. And Blockbuster was killed by Netflix, and legacy media is going to be killed by X, is my belief, and just independent journalists in general.
Yeah, we are the media now. And yeah, Washington Post, again, they did this to themselves, a 90% decline. I just hope that all their reporters right now, while they're in their cry closets, are also learning to code so that we're not paying for their unemployment for the next, 4 years.
Yes.
Now, speaking of deranged media, Joy Reid claims right-wing billionaires are using the fires in California to create apartheid in L.A. I would expect nothing less from her. Again, this is why MSNBC's ratings have also cratered and why they're going to be sold off by Comcast soon.
Yeah, well, she herself is a rich person. They love to sit here and bash rich people. Like, she lives there as well. The only difference is she doesn't like the rich people who are, unless they're black. If they're black, like she's okay with them. So like all these professional athletes out there, if they're doing the same thing, she's okay with that. She just doesn't like the white people who are doing these sorts of things. It's unbelievable what these people, are even willing to say out loud at this point.
Yes.
The bigger issue they should be focused on is the fact that Gavin Newsom is laying the groundwork to allow the smart city developers to come in and start buying up land and creating the smart city plans there in this area. And the fact that the insurance agent companies warned the governor there in California that they were going to take away their insurance if some changes weren't made. Then they took away the insurance, and then this fire happened. So those are the things that they should be focused on out there, not whether there's some rich person who is taking, honestly, if she wants to be serious in what she's talking about there, I would say Hunter Biden falls into that category, considering that he's trying to claim $200 million worth of his poop colored artwork was destroyed in the fire. Why is she not calling him out specifically, or is it only conservative white people that she has an issue with?
Well, it's whatever's convenient for her narrative, but again, this is why MSNBC is collapsing. This is why they've totally lost control over the narrative, is because the people in the middle no longer believe or trust anything they say. And they keep elevating people like Joy Reid that are just, again, propagandists, pure and simple, or just totally delusional. I mean, that's a strong possibility too. But this serves no purpose. This is just going to sow more discontent out in LA for people that believe her and think that somehow this is really going on. And, I want to go back to one other thing too, they've already made it clear that there should be strings attached to the money to rebuild California, and none of those funds should be used to upgrade the city, put in all their new fancy smart city garbage or anything else. It should be bare minimum to get the city functional again, replace utilities, things like that. They want all these other projects to go in. Well, they're gonna have to raise the capital for those themselves. The American people should not be footing the bill for any of it.
Well, I want to quick comment from the previous story really quick before I comment on what this is. Fox Dramas points out that Bezos owns the Washington Post, and he's been talking with Trump and going to the inauguration, all that. So maybe he has plans to try to move it into a more conservative direction in order to try to save, because he's not a dumb business person. He sees her losing 90%. I think that's probably part of the reason he's getting all cushy with President Trump, and him and Elon Musk appear to be best friends on X now. Elon Musk was even joking about it yesterday, so that's pretty funny. But here's my stance on the funding to California right now. I don't think a single penny of federal dollars should be sent to California as long as they remain a sanctuary state, as long as they are using their own money to aid and abet and harbor, give safety to these illegals who have invaded our country. Then they should not. Why should the people of West Virginia, Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, why should our tax dollars be taken and given to a state who is committing treason against the rest of the country? Because that's exactly what it is. When you are aiding and abetting a foreign invader of this country, that is literally the definition of treason. California is committing treason against the rest of us, and we should not be rewarding them by giving them money for doing so. They either need to get their act together, or they can the only thing we should be sending their way, which should be the National Guard and the military from other states to go in there and liberate the people of California. Otherwise, I mean, they shouldn't be getting any money.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's unfortunately probably what it's going to take. Well, We got this. Rachel Maddow goes full-time at MSNBC to cover Trump's first 100 days with her signature voice. Yep, that's right. The high priestess of the blue-haired moonbats, the author of numerous TDS conspiracies. MSNBC is going double or nothing, despite their drop in viewership, and they're bringing Maddow back full-time because they need somebody to generate the conspiracy theories.
Signature voice. I mean, when I think of Rachel Maddow, the signature to me is not the voice. To me, the signature is that she looks like a doc and hates President Trump. I mean, that's a signature to me. She's a typical white Karen liberal. She is the poster child of when I say that white liberal women are going to destroy this country. Rachel Maddow should be the signature of that poster warning to the rest of America.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to do anything to improve their ratings or save MSNBC from being sold off. I'm glad they've made this choice. Again, it shows who they really are and why they deserve to fail, be sold off, rebranded. And I would love to see Rachel Maddow's new co-host be Alex Jones. He's just in a little box off to the side, fact-checking everything she says throughout her program. And then she could crawl under the desk and cry. But guys, we got to take a quick break here from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with even more.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs, Patriot TV is launching a brand new TV series showcasing American-made products, and your business could be featured. Whether you sell your products online on Etsy or Shopify and dream of reaching millions of viewers on smart TVs like Samsung, Sony, TCL, and LG, or apps like Roku, Android, and Apple TV, this is your chance. We're searching for US-based businesses offering all types of products and services proudly made in the USA. If you've ever wanted to showcase your products on TV like QVC or the Home Shopping Network, now's your opportunity. Support our American economy, grow your business, and be seen by loyal Patriot viewers across the country. Know someone with a business or have a business yourself? Don't miss out. Contact us at supportingpatriots.com today. Be a guest on this new exciting TV series. Let's put your American-made products in the spotlight.
Behind the power.
Vladimir Putin will remain in office until 2036.
Beneath the secrecy.
You'll be the most powerful man in the world.
Is the real story that defies reality. Putin is being called bold.
What's your strategy to bring them back to the Stone Age?
Chilling. You won't be able to look away.
How can his kingdom last?
Putin. Rated R. In select theaters January 10th.
Hey folks, it's your buddy John Rich here and co-founder of Old Glory Bank. Let me ask you a question. Why would you trust your banking with people that hate you? Well, you shouldn't. We're building a freedom economy, and now we have a pro-America bank. It's called Old Glory Bank. Check it out at oldglorybank.com and open yourself an account today.
Old Glory Bank is a full-service, FDIC-insured online bank with business and consumer banking and customers in all 50 states. It takes just 8 minutes to open an account at oldglorybank.com.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the great programs here on Patriot TV is by supporting our sponsors. You can do that by going to patriot.tv, selecting the Insurrection, and then finding a sponsor that you'd like to back to help keep us on the air, bringing you the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. Well, there's a lot of people concerned with what could happen during Trump's inauguration, whether it'll be some kind of leftist attack or Islamic terrorism or the North Koreans, China, whoever else. But people are very concerned. And now we hear this. Energy Department deploys helicopters over D.C. scanning for radiological or nuclear irregularities ahead of Trump's historic inauguration. And, this is a little unnerving, especially considering the New Jersey drone situation still hasn't been resolved. That's still going on, even though it's not getting any coverage by the media. We still don't know what the root cause is there or even whose drones they are. Nobody's talking. Supposedly Trump's going to release that information by the 21st. But, again, this is scary. And again, something to think about that the Department of Energy is actually this concerned that they're scanning D.C. right now as we speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a quick shout out to Rosa and Tina in the X chat there. Appreciate you guys. for tuning in. But no, you almost have to wonder, is this why the drones were going as well? Because there's a lot of reports that the drones were going in a grid pattern as well. I don't know a lot about that. I don't have no problem to admit that. But it does beg the question, if there was something to that as well. Either way, I'm glad that they're out here actually, scanning and trying to be protective ahead of time. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little apprehensive about the inauguration this go around, to be honest with you. We know that they've already attempted to hurt President Trump twice. And so I don't put anything past these people at this point. I really don't. We know that there's a lot of sleeper cells and such as well that have been activated inside of our country. And even if they can't get to President Trump himself, like there's going to be a lot of obviously Trump supporters in DC. I was planning to go. I know Mike was planning to go as well. We're not going because of that. It was just we had other things that came up. But the more I learned about it, the more I'm like, I'm okay. At first, I was really bummed I wasn't going to be able to make it. Now I'm just like, it's okay. I'll say I'll be home. So, but yeah, I mean, I just anybody who's there, obviously, just keep your head on a swivel, be safe, and God bless everybody, and praying for a safe and uneventful inauguration.
Yeah, and I don't have a slide for this because this is a breaking story right now. Pastor Brandon Biggs, who's the guy that months before the first Trump assassination plot, where Trump was shot in the head, shot in the ear, he predicted that with remarkable accuracy, including him getting hit in the ear, rising back up, and everything else. Well, he's been out there, and I did see the story a few days ago, but now it's starting to get some media attention. Pastor who previously predicted Trump getting shot in the ear 3 months before it happened warns of orchestrated attacks on Trump's inauguration and iconic properties in detail. So maybe we'll end up talking about this Monday before the inauguration, hopefully not because something's happened. But yes, he's warning that there's going to be some sort of a mass casualty event. I'll try to check through this, maybe get you guys some information before we go, because the story just popped up finally just a few minutes ago. But yeah, it's scary, and there is a lot to be concerned with, because it isn't just the moonbats in D.C. There's a lot of enemies around the world that don't want to see Trump sworn in again, and America are course corrected here and around the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's... Once again, we've been concerned the whole time. We didn't know if he was going to have an election. We didn't know if President Trump was going to make it to Election Day. After he won, we kept saying we just got to keep him alive until Inauguration Day. And then it was really quiet, and we all had mentioned, like, hey, it seems something seems off here. It's too quiet with everything going on. We mentioned it was probably the calm before the storm. New Year's hits. We start having terrorist attacks. We start having the fires, which I believe could. I'm not saying they are, but they could be terrorist attacks as well. I do believe they're arson, and arson is not climate change. And so after the first of the year, we started seeing an escalation of things leading up, and you almost have to wonder if it's leading up to the inauguration. I hope not. Dan Bongino, who everybody knows and respects, and his opinion on this has warned and does not has advised that President Trump don't even go to the inauguration, because he doesn't like the way that things are looking and the way that he's just, something feels off with him. The current Secret Service, the current administration is refusing to give President Trump the information that their team would need in order to safely secure the area, which I think is insane that they like. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. I can't think. It's one of those things, like, you sit there and you try to find a million different reasons just searching around trying to find one good reason as to why they would deny that, and you can't. It's almost like, give me one good reason why you would not want to release the Epstein list. The only reason you wouldn't want to release the Epstein list is if you're on the Epstein list. Other than that, there's no reason to keep it hidden. So the only reason I can think of to not share this information with President Trump is if you got something malicious going on here behind the scenes, and that's the only good reason I can come up with as to why you wouldn't want to share that information with the Trump team. So that's where my head goes. Hopefully there's something I'm not thinking about.
Yeah, or just denying these requests for additional manpower and other things that Trump's team has asked for. I did hear this morning that Trump has hired his own private security firm to supplement the Secret Service, now that they're going to be shadowing them, specifically at the inauguration, searching everybody that comes in addition to the Secret Service, and posted up in key positions. And he has a body team, if something does go down, that is his own security primarily now, to pull him off the stage, whatever else happens. And again, it's just because of the performance and all the slip-ups from the Secret Service. at 2 assassination attempts. And actually, we heard yesterday, I don't really consider this to be a real legitimate assassination attempt or whatever, but I guess yesterday in D.C., they caught people trying to get in with knives and machetes again. This sounds more like these were just whack job lunatics that had no real ability to carry anything out. But things are tense, and it's not easing up or backing off at all yet. So I don't expect it to in the near future.
Machetes?
A machete, a 30-something-inch machete.
I can see someone accidentally, first time there or whatever, somebody from the country or whatever, you carry pocket knives on you. I do. I found myself in that situation and had to go look around and find a bush or something somewhere and bury my knife and come back and get it later because I didn't want to walk miles to put it up. So, I mean, I could see someone not understanding and having a pocket knife on them, but a machete, like who in their right mind thought that you could walk into there with a 30-inch machete? I'm sorry, but that's hilarious to me that somebody would even attempt to do that. And then I did want to point out, Jagger brings up, we do have 5,000 troops deployed to Washington, D.C. for the inauguration. But still, there's a lot of issues going on in terms of them not wanting to share pertinent details, the current Biden administration Secret Service with the incoming Trump administration and Secret Service details. So there's definitely something going on. I'm still cracking up that somebody tried to hop in with a machete. And then a shout out to Nikki in the chat as well.
Oh, yeah. And again, this guy is clearly a mental case. But, again, sometimes mental cases get lucky, and that's how people die. Well, we got even more good news. Well, kind of. Merrick Garland stepped down. That's good news. AG Merrick Garland claims he always pursued justice, not politics, in farewell speech, then boasts about persecuting J6 protesters. Well, this guy better lawyer up and better not be shredding any documents, because I'm sure there's a number of people that are going to have some questions for him as Trump's administration gets seated and the wheels of justice start actually turning again.
A lot of people are counting down the days until President Trump is in office for various different reasons. Obviously, everybody has their own reasons. Myself, and I think those of us in the January 6th community are counting down until Trump gets into office so we can get our pardons and get on with our lives. But in addition to that, I'm counting down the days of each day that we go without these pardons for the Biden issuing these pardons is like one day closer we might be able to get justice. And so I'm trying not to get excited, but I mean, I want to see Fauci. I want to see Merrick Garland. I want to see Jack Smith. I'm hoping, Liz Cheney, that they do not receive pardons from Joe Biden out the door. There's only a couple more days left for him to do that. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that never happens, because I want to see these scumbags brought to justice. I want to, a lot of people say, I don't want retribution. I want retribution. I do. Yeah. I want these people thrown in the same solitary confinement cells that they threw myself and my fellow January 6th political prisoners. I want to see these people punished. I want to see them, held accountable for their actions, for persecuting us. And I also want to see an investigation into the stolen election, into everything surrounding the persecution of not just J6ers, but Trump supporters in general. And I want to see these people held accountable for it. We got at the sentencing of every single January 6th political prisoner, myself included, one of the things that the judge always said is, I have to give a harsh punishment as a deterrence to make sure this never happens again. On that same note, I want to see Fauci, Merrick Garland, Jack Smith, Liz Cheney. I want to see these people all brought to justice. I want to see them in shackles facing a jury for their crimes against humanity, against this country, against the Constitution. And then I want to see a very harsh punishment as a deterrence to make sure that people in this position never do it again.
Exactly. Yeah. America deserves the truth and justice. And these people deserve to face justice for the things they've done. The mainstream media can't just cover up for their lies and their misdeeds, and that can't be allowed to stand. So it's time to get the truth out there, and it's time to get this under control, to send a message that it can't ever be allowed to happen again. Well, Well, let's jump to this. From Breitbart, 20 attorneys general call for swift Senate confirmations of Noam, Bondi, and Patel. National security in peril after disastrous 4 years of Biden. Open border has left Americans in danger. Those are both quotes from the letter. But, I think these confirmation hearings aren't going quite like the Democrats and the deep state had hoped. It's been just, they've been getting their asses kicked verbally for days now. They have not had any of their key gotcha moments actually work out the way they thought. They're complaining that Trump's nominees must have been coached. Lawyers must have gotten involved and told them what to say. No, these people just don't know what they're doing. Trump's clearly picked a team that is going to stay on message, stay on task, and there's nothing they can do about it now. I'd be surprised if, at least the nominees we've seen so far, if one of them wasn't approved just because of how these hearings have gone.
Yeah, well, first of all, who cares if they had some training on some specific things to say and how to answer questions? Like, they would be dumb if they just walked in there off the street and never even thought about any of the questions that they're going to be asked and just showed up. That would be so dumb. I just assumed that they actually had some preparation for this, the same way you would prepare for any job interview or anything else. I don't know anybody who would just show up and not put any thought into what they would be asked in preparation and their answers. That's just the dumbest thing ever. It has been hilarious because they have attempted to try to smear these people, and these picks have just knocked it out of the park, all of them collectively. And there's been a lot of good, as the young folks say, with some good clapback going on here in terms of exposing some of them for what they are. Like, one of my favorites was Pam Bondi pointing out, this is exactly why you were censured by the members of Congress, Adam Schiff. So I think that they've done a great job, and I think that they've won over a lot of Americans who maybe were on the fence or maybe even voted for Biden. And because there are some people out there who voted for Biden, but I believe are not completely brainwashed yet. And I think that these people have probably won some of those people over, or at least opened their eyes up to that the Trump administration, is going to be one that can be respected by all definitions of respect, if you will.
Well, the Dems aren't just furious over all the verbal beatdowns they've been getting. There's also moments like this. Unforgettable. Liberal heads explode as Treasury Secretary nominee Scott Bessent praises Trump for why he nominated a gay man to lead the Treasury. And again, that's supposed to be their arena. Trump's not allowed to appoint somebody like that. A historic first. Again, if this guy had been appointed by Biden or, God forbid, Kamala Harris, they'd be celebrating. It'd be all we heard about right now. It'd be nonstop on the media, but it'll be ignored because you can't have a first from a Republican or a gay person who is conservative and will push forward for America First values and get our monetary system under control.
Well, here's the biggest difference. So believe it or not, I did not know that he was gay. I watched a lot of the stuff yesterday. I didn't know that. I probably should know that, considering we as involved in politics as I am. I didn't know that. And the only reason I bring that up is I thought he did a great job yesterday. He's definitely qualified. The difference is on the conservative side, when we appoint somebody like that, it's not their identity. He's not appointed because he's gay. He's qualified and happens to be gay. There's a big difference. Whereas the Biden administration was appointing people, Pete Buttigieg, that crazy dude that was running HHS, looks like Mrs. Doubtfire. That dude, those people, the
serial luggage thief.
Yeah, like those people were appointed specifically because of their sexual orientation, and that was their entire identity. They wore it on their sleeve everywhere they went. That's all they pushed. They wanted it was a way to push the LGBTQ propaganda BS out to the mainstream. And the difference is this guy is more than qualified for the position. He just happens to be gay, and I have no problem with that. I don't care how people live their lives. I don't care about any of that. I mean, from that standpoint, as a Christian, obviously I have different opinions, but that's not here nor there. But the person is qualified for the position. I don't care about anything else. Can they get the job done? And after listening to this guy yesterday, I have full confidence he can get the job done. And I thought he did a great job during the confirmation hearings.
Oh yeah, bingo. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, whenever Rachel/Dick Levine turns back in their government laptop, you guys are going to want to do a thorough scan through there and make sure it's not loaded with child pornography. We have this story too. Outrageous. Pro-Trump Georgia senator who previously tried to impeach Fani Willis assaulted and arrested while trying to enter Georgia House chambers. And Derrick, you spoke with him yesterday, right?
Yeah, I spoke with Colton yesterday briefly. He's had a lot going on, obviously. This whole thing is just absolutely unbelievable that they're doing this. Colton is a true patriot. He's America First patriot. They unconstitutionally were trying to prevent him from going in there. He's got a constitutional duty representing around 200,000 people to be in there and represent them. And this stems back a long ways. Goes back somewhat even before the Fani Willis stuff, because he's been calling out the rhinos, like the Brian Kemp faction of the rhinos there in Georgia for quite some time now. They can't get rid of him because the people in that district love him. I would as well. I'd love for somebody like that to represent me. And then the Fani Willis stuff happened, and he was really the only one who had enough courage to stand up to her, and he was doing so while the rhinos, the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, Brian Kemp, all these people were basically threatening him to leave Fani Willis alone, and he refused to back down on that. And that's really where a lot of this stuff stems from, is he refuses to fall in line and allow the rhinos in Georgia to control him, therefore controlling not only his vote but his voice and everything else. It's really weird. Like a lot of these, especially in the red states, like West Virginia is one of them. I'll never forget our first day of caucus meetings when I was elected to the state house in West Virginia. They told all of us that if you have an issue with a vote, leadership vote, and you can't vote for it, whether it's because you don't want to vote for it, or it's because your district does not support that, and you can't vote for it, they're fine with that. But don't stand on the floor and voice concerns about it. Don't go to the media and talk about it. Just quietly push no, and leadership will be okay with it. But if you want to stand up and call them out, now they've got issues with that. And I guarantee you it's the same thing down in Georgia. That's what they're mad about, is that he has the courage to stand up and call them out. And that's why I have a lot of respect for even some people I disagree with when they stand up and call out the leadership of their own party, because I know firsthand that is like the biggest no to the leadership that you could ever do, as if anybody really cares at the end of the day.
Yeah, God forbid you have any independent thoughts or a spine to stand up and say something against them. But yeah, Colton Moore is a legitimately good dude. I was fortunate enough to be able to spend some time with him over in Romania. We've had him on our program before, and I believe we're going to try to get him booked for a day next week so you can hear exactly what happened right from him. And then hopefully we have an update and new information on this by next week. But yeah, again, Colton Moore is exactly the type of senator that you want. Somebody with the courage to take a stand, that won't back down under pressure, and will stand for truth. And again, we'll put America first. We also got this story out of California. Caught on video, Orange County, California election worker repeatedly scans huge stack of ballots 3 times. Election officials respond. Yet again, once again, from California, one of these states, we have on video evidence of election fraud. I mean, let's call it what it is. This guy wasn't like scanning these ballots just for fun. And again, we were trying to get more information on this right before we went live today. But this was, again, in a very tight race where at the last minute it was taken from a conservative candidate, correct?
That is correct. So the scoop on this is this was incumbent Michelle Steele. It was her district. The Derrick Tran Democrat who ran for this. Michelle Steele was winning after Election Day. It was one of those races that they continued to count ballots until they got enough ballots to allow the Democrat to win, in my opinion. And that's when they stopped counting. They counted for weeks and weeks after Election Day. Long story short, Derrick Tran, the Democrat, is declared the winner by 653 votes. And when you look and see this video here, and this is only one video, who knows what else is out there, you have to at least wonder how that affected the outcome. I mean, 653 votes. It's not a lot to sway the election. And this person was caught an entire stack. We don't know how many was in that stack, but she ran it through the counter 3 different times. And And there needs to be some investigations into this. And President Trump had promised anybody who cheats in the 2024 election would be investigated, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I'm hoping that he continues to do that and goes after this. And we need a proper, real investigation into why those were done that many times. And they need to be held accountable if there's anything nefarious going on here.
Yeah, bingo. There needs to be lawsuits flying. There needs to be a real DOJ investigation into this, and people need to actually be held accountable. Same with all the other incidents from 2024. I think we also need to wind back the clock and look at 2020 again. Even though at this point it's not going to change races or anything else, we need to punish the people responsible for violating laws in every state and force the entire country to have honest, free, fair, open elections. I know there is some legislation working its way through the House that we should have a resolution on here fairly soon into Trump's term that will implement national voter ID. California, again, they just outlawed voter ID, which I don't know why you'd want to hold elections and actually make it illegal for somebody to present ID to before voting. But again, it really shows you where their motives are and what they really want, and they're just disrespect for you and the voters who do want ID. They want to know that their elections are free and fair, the votes are being counted the way they intended, and things are not being interfered with. Doing all this behind closed doors, not allowing observers, counters, all that stuff needs to go. We need to have honest, free, fair elections, and we need to get rid of all the electronic voting machines.
100%. I mean, that's the only thing we can do moving forward is secure our elections. It's truly a matter of national security in terms of securing our elections. It's a bipartisan issue. Like there's people on either side does not trust the votes. Depending, it's weird because they all trust the votes if their person wins, and they don't trust if their person loses. I'm not one of those people. I know that there's issues even in some of these areas where that's probably helping Republicans win. I mean, and I'm not above saying that. There's issues in our voting system right now. It needs to be cleaned up and fixed. And there's a lot of us who went to prison for standing up and speaking out against this. And therefore, the people who are stealing elections should definitely go to prison for doing the same thing.
Absolutely. We got to take one more quick break here from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with even more.
Vladimir Putin will remain in office until 2036.
Putin is being called bold.
What's your strategy? Bring them back to the Stone Age.
Daring. You won't be able to look away.
How can his kingdom last?
Putin. Rated R. In select theaters January 10th.
Hi, fellow patriots. How are you today? No, really. How are you? If you're looking for a way to energize, depuff, revitalize your skin, and maybe soothe some sore muscles, look no further than the Patriot TV store and the Nu Skin Renew Spa IO system. This is not your basic body massaging system. Nuh-uh. This has adaptive microcurrent technology that goes through these wonderful nodes on the bottom to really get in there. When you use it, you feel it just gently tickling in there and massaging everything. It's marvelous. And not only do you get the device, you also get a free tube of the special conductive gel to go with it. So there you are. You can depuff, you can revitalize, energize, and not only that, contour, firm, and tone. And we all want that. So go to the Patriot TV store now and get yours today from Nu Skin, the Renew Spa IO system.
Every day, they put their lives on the line. In the line of duty, in the line of fire. They're protectors, police, firefighters, the military, border patrol agents. They protect us, so Old Glory Bank is protecting them with Old Glory Protect. It's a $100,000 line of duty death benefit free with an Old Glory Bank account with direct deposit. Old Glory Protect from Old Glory Bank, protecting those who protect us.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the programs on Patriot TV is by supporting our sponsors. We got just a couple stories to get to still, so I'm gonna try to get through
some breaking news for you, Mike.
What we got?
And this, it's good news probably. President Trump's inauguration is going to be moved indoors on Monday. They're claiming it's dangerously cold temperatures. I believe it has something to do with the warning from Dan Bongino and some of the information that they're receiving. I don't can't prove that, but it's being reported that it's due to dangerously cold temperatures, and they're expected to be sworn into office inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. So I just wanted to break that news
Good.
here on the show. It just came out within the last 5-10 minutes or so.
Yeah, whether it's really for cold temperatures or not, I don't care. I think this is a good idea to get it indoor and whatever. Use whatever excuse you want. Or even if this really is to the temperatures, good. I think it lessens the risk of danger to hold it in the Capitol Rotunda. That's going to be a lot harder for a terrorist incident, something like that. Now, if you're in the crowd outside, I would still keep your head on a swivel and be looking for any signs of danger or any signs of these, deranged leftist moonbats like these 1,500 leftist congressional staffers beg House and Senate leadership for a shortened work week. I guess working a regular 40 is just too hard. They want Fridays off or a 32-hour work week. What a bunch of losers.
Well, I mean, are we surprised? I mean, at the end of the day, they're even if they're technically being paid for 40 hours a week, we've already had whistleblowers who come forward. They're probably working about 10 hours per week. They've got so many hours per week for mental health, so many hours per week for physical health. They got so many hours they're allowed to take just because they're depressed and sad. I mean, a lot of them work from home. There's no oversight on anything. I mean, how many hours are they actually working right now? And let me back up. I know that there's some people in there, just like any other organization that's that large. I'm sure there's some people in there who are working their butts off. They're there for the right reasons. They love their country. They are probably truly doing the work of themselves and the other 3 to 4 people that we're talking about right now who's not doing anything. But as a whole, there's no way these people are working 40 hours a week. I can't believe that they would complain about one of the most cush jobs in the entire country with no accountability, no anything. And that shows you the entitlement of, I don't even want to say this generation. I want to say the entitlement of the people within the government agencies. They are some of the most entitled people you will ever come across.
Yeah, I mean, I know some of these congressional staffers are working for tyrants, verbally abusive tyrants like Sheila Jackson Lee. I'm sure we all saw that video. I know we covered it a while back when it was leaked out, of how she treats her staff. And I'm sure there's others like that. So some of you might have it rough. But if you do, and your congressman treats you like a jerk, then I don't see any reason not to record it and release it and expose them. These people need to be polite and treat people as they deserve to be treated. If they're just deranged lunatics, expose it. You certainly don't deserve a 32-hour work week, not on the public dime. Sorry about your luck.
I mean, the audacity of these people to even ask that, while the people who are paying their salaries, the taxpayers, are out here working a lot of times 60, 70 hours a week and getting the overtime taxed into oblivion. It's one of the things, I know that there's going to be a lot of changes coming with the Trump administration. I'm hoping that they actually just do away with the federal income tax in general and go back to tariffs the way it was always originally done. I think that would be huge for all Americans regardless. But if they can't get that passed, I hope that they can at the very least end the taxation on overtime. I mean, if you've already worked 40 hours and you're working extra, I mean, a lot of times it's really not worth it by the time you get hit with the taxes on it. And so these are some of obviously the hardest working Americans in the entire country, and they should not be punished. They should be rewarded for doing so.
Yeah, because a lot of times they end up putting you up into a higher tax bracket and they're taking a much bigger chunk of your paycheck. When I was still in staffing, we used to have people all the time that, hadn't had jobs previously with overtime available. They start working somewhere that does, say, 512s. They have 20 hours of OT, and all of a sudden, over 30% of their check is getting vacuumed up by the federal government, and they start asking themselves, why did I not have a life for the last week to only make an extra, $120 once it was all said and done and I paid the taxes? Well, it's a Festivus miracle. Biden might have actually done something that I think was a decent idea. Biden commutes sentences for nearly 2,500 Americans convicted of nonviolent drug offenses. Now, before I get too excited about this, I do want to be able to go through this list and make sure this wasn't his opportunity to just release more child molesters, pedophiles, people like that all were convicted for drug charges in addition to the other horrible things they did. But I guess we'll see once we get some time to review this list.
Yeah, look, I'll say this as somebody who, spent some time in prison. Mine was for January 6th, but I met a lot of people who were in there on some nonviolent petty stuff, and believe it or not, the last week or so before I left prison, I met a guy. This is in Michigan, who was in there for having cannabis, for having weed, and I just thought that was ironic, considering that it's legal in the state of Michigan. He can go to the gas station, the 7-Eleven, and purchase that, but the fact he had more than what they said he was allowed to have, it was now a felony, and he's in prison for 10 years for this.
Holy.
I just think that because he had previous criminal history before that, which is another thing that needs to be looked at, in my opinion. But the criminal justice system, guys, is completely broken from beginning to end. I'm just telling you guys right now, when I get through my part in, get my own self back on my own feet here, I think not only myself, there's a lot of J6ers I've spoken to who are going to really start beating the drum for criminal justice reform in this country. It is truly sad what they're doing. And if Joe Biden, if it really is just nonviolent drug offenders that he just did this for, I would actually give him credit for that. As you said, I want to go through the list and see, if there's anybody in there who he slipped in there and he's going to claim as an oopsie before I give too much credit. But if it's exactly what they're saying it is, I think it's a good thing to do that.
Yeah, make sure there's nobody that was slipped in that was arrested for marijuana possession and bundling, $3 million in donations for the Democrats. Make sure there's nothing like that was slipped in there. Well, California, you guys look out over there. I guess I should have checked to see if this was already out or not, but power plant in Moss Landing, California erupts in flames, triggers immediate evacuation over toxic air hazard. Now, I've seen a few different things about this. Apparently, this was some sort of a giant outdoor battery bank that burst into flames, and then it just rapidly spread because, again, California's a tinderbox because it's California. But yeah, yet another fire and another power plant out of commission now. And California is already right on the line. We hear about rolling blackouts there almost every summer. So this is the loss of another power plant. It'll take years to rebuild this place, or up to 18 months to a few years just to rebuild this facility.
Well, really quick shout out to Jeff. Jeff Larson and Computer Technician over here in the X chat. We appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. Look, this whole thing, I mean, once again, you have to wonder, was this arson as well? I don't know. I'm not saying that. Was it some sort of negligence in some way? I mean, these battery things, we know with the electric vehicles, when they catch on fire, just how, rapidly they expand. Yeah, very, very violently. And so you can only imagine an entire plant that has all those things in there, just how destructive this was. I'm curious. I want to know if they're going to do any studies on how much it's hurting the environment when these batteries catch fire. I believe that would be a fair study to conduct right now to see how destructive it is to the environment. I bet, just guessing, I bet it's more harmful than cows farting, even though cows burp. But anyways, that's a different subject for a different day.
Yeah, I still want to know what the carbon footprint was of all these wildfires and what they're going to do in California to offset it. But then again, I don't want to give them any ideas. All right, last thing before we run off, I just want to make sure you guys are thinking about this over the weekend. Non-binary elected official takes months-long leave over mental health after being misgendered in Massachusetts City Council. So yeah, that kind of looks like a Pat right there. Little more feminine. But yeah, when you elevate people with mental illness, this is what happens.
You can't even make this up at this point, man. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this person. When you first told me, I lost it. I thought it was a Babylon Bee sort of headline, but it's true. But as you pointed out, that's what happens when you elect these sorts of people. This is what you're going to get, and they're probably going to get paid while they're on leave for this as well.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we are out of time for the day. We'll be back on Monday. Keep your heads on a swivel over the weekend, and keep your eyes on the news for whenever Biden issues these preemptive inoculation pardons for Fauci, Liz Cheney, and numerous others. But guys, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the Hannah Faulkner Show next on Patriot TV. We'll see you back here on Monday.